Hello there, I am Elwyn, and this is the Antler Crown. And welcome to another edition of Famous Witches Throughout the Ages. Now, we are going to be looking at a witch trial that occurred in Northern Ireland. They are known as the Islandmagee witches. So, come on in with me and let's find out.
Beyond the weather and the marsh, there is a whisper in the dark through the tides of disarray, where a list knows the way. If you listen very still, there are answers to the ends, where the ancient pulses deep of the memories you keep.
The events took place around the town of Milcohen Moor in Islandmagee, a peninsula and civil parish in south-east County Antrim with a large Presbyterian population of Ulster Scot origin. What is Ulster Scot origin? Well, Ulster Scots, or Scotch-Irish, or Scots-Irish, are an ethnic group of people who share a common history, some of whom speak an Ulster Scot dialect of the Scots language, a West Germanic language by accounts. They descend largely from lowland or southern Scottish and northern English settlers who settled in the north of Ireland during the 17th century. There is an exhibition on at the Carrickfergus Museum that we went to in Northern Ireland that tells the tale of what most likely happened to these women known as the Islandmagee witches. The trial was the result of a claim by a Mrs. James Haltridge of Knowhead House that an 18-year-old Mary Dunbar exhibited signs of demonic possession, such as shouting, swearing, blasphemy, throwing Bibles, going into fits every time a clergyman came near her, vomiting household items such as pins, buttons, nails, glass, and even wool. See if you can spot the poppet magic. Assisted by local authorities, Dunbar picked out 8 women who she claimed were witches that had attacked her during a spectral form. During the arrest of the 8, they were set upon by a frenzied mob, and one of the accused lost an eye. The 8 women were Janet Carson, Janet Latimer, Janet Main, Janet Miller, Margaret Mitchell, Catherine McCalmond, Janet Liston, and Elizabeth Seller. It's a lot of Janets. They were tried in March 1711 at the County Antrim Spring Assizes, presided over by 2 judges, Anthony Upton of the Common Pleas and James McCartney of the King's Bench. In their jury instructions, they took radical views of the evidence. Upon Upton's urge, the jury to acquit. He did not take the modern view that there are no witches, but did stress that the blameless lives of the accused and their exemplary attendance at Christian worship, was it likely that they also practised witchcraft? McCartney, however, took a more credulous view and successfully urged that the jury convict these women. Now, I say women, however, William Seller, who was husband of Janet Liston and father of Elizabeth Seller, was tried at the Summer Assizes in September 1711 and also convicted. No official records of the trial and the verdict are known to exist. Any that survived until 1922 were likely burnt in the destruction of the Public Records Office of Ireland during the Irish Civil War. We can guess what happened based upon the Witchcraft Act of 1586, which provided a penalty of death for causing death by witchcraft, and 1 year's imprisonment with time in the pillory for causing injury. It is likely that William Sellers suffered death, and the 8 women suffered time in the pillory and 1 year's imprisonment. On release, all of the women were most likely ostracised from their communities. What's more concerning is that these prejudiced views are still carried today. A novelist known as Martina Devlin wrote a 2014 novel based on the case, and she proposed erecting a memorial to the 8 women. However, the traditional unionist voice, Councillor Jack McGee, objected that the plaque could become and I quote, shrine to paganism, and that he was unconvinced that the women were not guilty and believed the proposal to be, quote, anti-God. Eventually, a plaque was unveiled by Mid and East Antrim Borough Council at the Gobbins Visitor Centre in March 2022. The proposed line of, quote, today the community recognises your innocence, end quote, was omitted from the inscription after another Unionist Party councillor, Keith Turner, objected that the council was acting beyond their authority to make such a claim, and it should, quote, let visitors decide for themselves, unquote. The fact that in this modern day and age we still have people in power who believe that these normal men and women were in fact guilty is, quite frankly, worrying and equally horrifying. That the old white men, the sacks of wine who remain in power, are still shouting "burn the witch" to detract from the evils that happen beyond their front doors. Well, anyways, thank you for learning more about the trials of the Islandmagee witches with me, and don't forget to check out my other platforms, such as TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Join my Patreon and get access to more of my unseen content and a Discord, or buy a reading from me off of my website, theantlercrown.com. Until next time, have a blessed day. Goodbye.